So thank you all for being here. I will call to order the June 17th, 2020 Local Agency Formation Commission at 2:35 p.m. We're meeting via teleconference pursuant to the shelter-in-place order issued by the San Mateo County Health Officer, the Governor's Office, and the CDC's social distancing guidelines, which discourage large public gatherings. The board chambers LAFCo uses for meetings is currently not open to the public for meetings. We are meeting via Zoom. At this point, the clerk will explain how both written comments and spoken public comments can be made by attendees of the meeting.
Thank you, Chair. For those attending the meeting on the Zoom video conference, we will use the raise hand feature in order to organize any public comments. During the general public comment period and for each item on the regular agenda, I will ask those members of the public who wish to comment to click the raise hand feature to speak on that agenda item. For those joining by phone, please press *9 to indicate your desire to speak. When you hear your name called, I will prompt you to unmute your account and inform you that you may begin speaking. Please note that members of the public must wait for my prompt in connection with each agenda item before using the raise hand function. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So now let's move on to a roll call.
Commissioner Draper,
Here.
Commissioner Garbarino,
Here.
Commissioner Horsley, Commissioner Lohman,
Here.
Commissioner O'Neill, Vice Chair Slocum,
Here.
Chair Cosgrove.
Here.
And also present is Staff Executive Officer Martha Poyatos, Management Analyst Rob Bartoli, Legal Counsel Rebecca Archer, Commission Clerk Angela Montes, and support from Janice Lujan. Thank you.
Thank you. Let the record also reflect that the alternate public member, Commissioner James O'Neill, is here, and the alternate special district member, Katie Martin, is here. Okay, we're going to move on now to item number 2, the consent agenda. Approval of May 20th, 2020 action minutes. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns from the commission?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. The motion was by Commissioner Garbarino, I believe, right?
Yes, sir.
And the second was by Commissioner Draper, I believe.
Correct.
Okay, let me, one more time, let me ask, are there any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing no hands raised, hearing none, let's move on to a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Draper,
Yes.
Commissioner Garbarino,
Yes.
Commissioner Lohman,
Yes.
Vice Chair Slocum,
Yes.
Chair Cosgrove.
Yes, and that item passes unanimous. Thank you. Okay, item number 3. We'll now move on to item 3, which is the public comment for items not on the agenda. Our clerk will read any written comments and allow the public to speak.
Thank you, Chair. We are now opening public comments for item number 3. If your hand is raised, your name will be called on for this item. For those joining by phone, you can press *9 to raise your hand. For item 3, we did not receive any written comments, and at the moment, I do not see any hands raised.
Okay, thank you. I'm just giving a minute to see if anybody raises hands. I'm seeing none. So with that, I will move on from the public comment to item 4, which is applications received and not certified as complete and ready for hearing. Do we have any staff report?
There's no staff report. There are none received and ready for hearing.
Thank you very much. That's an easy one. Let's move on to item 5, which is consideration of adoption of final work program and the LAFCo budget for fiscal year 2020 to 2021. Staff report, please.
Yes, thank you, Chairman Cosgrove and Commissioners. You have a staff report dated June 10th, 2020. In it, it provides information that at your May 20th commission hearing, you considered and approved a revised proposed budget with appropriations of $668,796, a net operating budget of $571,717, and $190,572 representing the 1/3 share portion to the county, cities, and special districts. This slide shows the comparison from the current fiscal year, the originally proposed budget that was in your packet, and the revised budget that had additional changes to it based on new information from the county. The June 10th report details the 2 separate public hearings that are required by the statutory timeline in the Cortese-Knox-Hertzberg Act that requires a notice public hearing for the proposed budget and a notice public hearing for the adopted budget or final budget by June 15th. Due to the shelter in place, the March and April meetings were canceled, so this meeting was the soonest the final budget could be considered. Also, I should note that in September, after the close of the fiscal year, the Commission also will be considering amendments to the budget based on the final year-end fund balance. As reported in May, the recommended final budget includes updated cost information provided by the county and reductions identified by staff to minimize the cost to our funding agencies in light of the anticipated revenue losses due to the shelter in place and the additional spending by agencies to respond to COVID-19. Reductions included lowering the reserve from 3% to 2%, eliminating travel expenses as staff is willing to forego reimbursement for attendance at LAFCo events, and commissioners would also attend at their own expense, and then elimination of administrative leave cash out. With this being the first full fiscal year in which we are staffed at 2.5 full-time positions, even with these reductions in discretionary expenditures, the proposed 2021 budget is $45,758 greater than the current year adopted. On page 4 of the report, the work program is detailed, which includes the municipal service reviews to be completed by staff, including the recently requested update to the 2015 Harbor District Municipal Service Review, as well as policy updates, outreach with various cities on annexation programs, annexation application processing, and then several other activities. Following the Commission's approval of the proposed budget at the May 20th hearing, staff circulated the budget to the county, cities, and special districts, and as of this morning, we had not received any comments. The recommendation is that you open the public hearing and accept public comment, consider and approve by resolution the final appropriations budget of $668,796 included in your June 10th staff report, and direct staff to distribute the final budget to the county, cities, and independent special districts. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you have about the budget.
Thank you very much for that staff report. Do we have any public comments for item number 5?
Thank you, Chair. We are now opening public comment for item 5. If your hand is raised, your name will be called on this item. For those joining by phone, please press *9 to raise your hand. And as of this morning, we did not receive any written comments. And I do not see any hands raised, but we might give people a couple seconds.
Well, that was a couple of seconds, so thank you very much. I'm going to move on now to any questions, comments, or concerns from the commission. And what I'm going to do, just like we did at the last meeting, I'm going to go through each of the commissioners alphabetically to ask if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. So I'll start with Commissioner Draper.
No questions or concerns.
Thank you. Commissioner Garbarino.
No questions, no concerns.
Thank you. Commissioner Lohman.
Yes, I just wanted to say that I think the staff's done a great job of starting from a higher budget and working to cut out everything they possibly could. So it's sort of a minor increase, and that's with the fact that they've got the full-time employee costs in there right now. So I think this is a great budget at this point.
Thank you very much. Vice Chair Slocum.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just would say I have every confidence in the staff and every confidence in the budget committee, and therefore no questions or comments. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, thank you very much. And I do not have any questions, comments, or concerns. So right now, I would entertain a motion to approve our adoption of final work program and LAFCO budget for fiscal year 2021.
So move.
Second.
Thank you very much. So we have a motion by Commissioner Lohman and a second by Commissioner Slocum to approve. And we will now proceed with a roll call vote.
Commissioner Draper,
Yes.
Commissioner Garbarino,
Yes.
Chair Cosgrove.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Vice Chair Slocum. I'm sorry, I didn't call the ones at first and second. I'm so sorry about that. So that was Vice Chair Slocum
Yeah, I thought you forgot me. Yes.
and Commissioner Garbarino, I believe.
Yes.
I think you forgot me too, if you want my vote.
Commissioner Lohman, I'm so sorry. I mixed you with Commissioner Garbarino. I'm sorry.
Even though I was slighted, I will still vote yes.
All right, so that the motion passes unanimously, I believe. So thank you very much. Let's move on to item 6, which is the Legislative and Policy Committee. Item 6A, consideration of updated procedures for the evaluations of proposals. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Chair Cosgrove. So as in the past year or so, LAFCo staff has been working with the Policy and Legislative Committee to update a number of policies that the Commission has. This recently has included missile service reviews and sphere of influence policies, and boundary changes, and the proposal today is regarding procedures for evaluation of proposal applications to LAFCo. Last time this policy was updated was in 2001. However, Commission and staff has utilized the latest version of the Cortese-Knox-Hertzberg Act for evaluating proposals. Some changes to this policy revolve around the definition of environmental justice, which was changed slightly by AB 1628. In staff's review of that bill that was later chaptered, it was staff had a concern that as written, the amended language can limit the Commission's consideration of certain aspects of environmental justice in proposals. Staff is recommending utilizing an expanded definition that's found elsewhere in state government regulations that was amended by this bill, and it allows for clarifying language and additional statements that allow for broader consideration of environmental justice when reviewing proposals. Additional changes that were made in the draft policy, which shows an attachment and track changes to the staff report. There's updates to code sections as footnotes and not in text, which is consistent with our other formats of our policies. There's been removal of the general LAFCo introduction and background, because the plan is at the end of the day, once we've updated all our policies, these will all be in one document with one introduction for all policies, instead of having introductions for each of them. There was an addition of definitions that was from the Act that are terms that are used within the policy, so it can't stand alone in that way. There's an addition of a section about organization and reorganization of regarding city detachments and district annexations. There's requirements of APN maps and copies of environmental documents when applications are submitted to LAFCo, so that we have that documentation as part of our review. And there's just general formatting and number changes. The Policy and Legislative Committee reviewed this document in February 2020 and recommended that it come forward to the full Commission for preliminary review. Similar to our last policy updates, the action here that we're recommending is to provide input on the draft policy and then direct staff to circulate the policy to special districts, cities, the county and any other affected agencies or persons who wish to comment on it for review, and then bring it back for adoption at the September 16th meeting. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for that staff report. I'm going to ask if there are any public comments, but before I do, Commissioner Horsley, good to see you. I note that you came on here, so just want to note that for the record.
Thank you, Joshua.
You're welcome, sir. So do we have any public comments for item 6A?
Thank you, Chair. We did not receive any written comments. And we have no hands raised for this item.
Okay. Thank you very much. Do we have any questions or comments from the commission on item 6A?
Nope.
Are we going to, question to staff, are we going to go through 6A, B, and then one at a time, or how are we doing that?
Yes, they're individual items. So on the proposal, so item 6A would be separate from 6B. So we just by motion, we were is the recommendation for to circulate the draft update. So we would require a vote for 6A, and 6B is just informational.
Got it. Okay, so for 6A, what I'll do, I'll just go through, since that requires a motion and a vote, I'm going to go through the commissioners again by alphabetical, to see if we have any questions or comments. Commissioner Draper on item 6A.
I don't have any questions, but I didn't have any comments, but I wanted you to know that my phone, and I was out for about 20 seconds and then came back in. So I'm ready to vote, but I just wanted to let everybody know that happened.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Garbarino.
No questions or comments?
Okay, Commissioner Horsley.
I don't have any, no questions.
Thank you. Commissioner Lohman.
No questions or comments.
Thank you. Vice Chair Slocum. Vice Chair Slocum, do you have any questions or comments?
No questions or comments. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I do not. So I would entertain a motion for item 6A.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Believe we have the motion from Commissioner Garbarino, and was the second from Commissioner Slocum?
Yes, sir.
All right, or Vice Chair Slocum, excuse me. Thank you. So let's go through a roll call vote, please, for item 6A.
Commissioner Draper,
Yes.
Commissioner Garbarino,
Yes.
Commissioner Horsley,
Yes.
Commissioner Lohman,
Yes.
Vice Chair Slocum,
Yes.
Chair Cosgrove.
Yes. Okay, and that passes unanimously. So let's move on now to item 6B, the legislative report. And I believe I heard that this is information only, correct?
So that's correct, Chair.
All right, thank you very much.
Brief in my comments. As reported to you in May, the Legislative and Policy Commission was reviewing 25 bills the LAFCo was tracking at the time. As of the report publication on June 10th, LAFCo was tracking 26. That actually now has been reduced down to 13 bills, as a number of the bills were holdovers either from the 1920 legislative session or were bills that were not moving forward at the time due to the focus primarily on the budget at the Capitol and due to COVID-related legislation. So there is a constitutional requirement to have the bill to the governor and have discussions by June 15th, and that's still ongoing. And LAFCo will be following the state budget bill to see whether there'll be any impacts to member agencies of LAFCo, whether it's the county, city, or special districts. And there is an attached daily digest from Cal LAFCo for the tracker to the report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you very much. Do we have any members of the public that wish to speak on item 6B?
Thank you, Chair. For item 6B, we did not receive any written comments, and we do not have any hands raised for this item.
All right, thank you very much. Let me go through the commissioners alphabetically again. Commissioner Draper. Any comments, questions on item 6B? Her picture looks frozen, so maybe Commissioner Draper might be having some technical issues right now. So let's go to Commissioner Garbarino.
No questions or comments.
Thank you. Commissioner Horsley.
I don't have any questions. Thanks, Joshua.
Thank you. Commissioner Lohman.
No comments, thanks.
Vice Chair Slocum. Any comments or questions?
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I do not have any. Commissioner Draper, technical difficulties over?
I don't know. I'm
I
fine.
hear you.
No. Okay, good.
Do you have any comments or questions on item 6B?
No.
All right, excellent. Okay, with that, again, thank you staff for that report. And the commission for moving on. So item 7, we will move on to item 7. This is commissioner staff reports. Are there any reports from the commissioners? I will go through alphabetically through the commissioners. Commissioner Draper?
No additions.
Got it. Commissioner Garbarino?
No, fine, thank you.
Commissioner Horsley?
Who's muted?
Just a question for the staff. Have they received a request from the county to revisit or refresh the Harbor District Municipal Service Review?
Yes, we did receive the request in writing, and we're going to start that in the coming weeks.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Commissioner Lohman?
No additional comments, thanks.
Thank you. Vice Chair Slocum?
No report.
All right, I don't have any either. Are there any reports from staff?
Yes, actually, just an update that we're going to be following the office reopening that county planning will have in place. And right now there's no new information about that as to when the building will be open. It's my understanding there will first be a kiosk in the lobby for people to pick things up and drop things off. So we continue to work from home, but we are able to transact business in terms of receiving applications and assisting the public. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, I will move on to item 8, which is adjournment, and it is 2:58. Our LAFCo meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Thank you.
Chair. Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.